Hi everybody, I just wanted to do a channel update video here and I guess share some things I've been thinking about recently. If you watch my second channel, I did a video like this last week, at least as of now, as the time I'm recording this, it was last week. The stuff I'm going to talk about here, I think I talked about a lot of that in that video, but it didn't really come out the way that I wanted it to. I think I maybe came off a little bit more whiny or something like that than I wanted to, so I thought I would just try again on this channel and hopefully express myself a little bit better than I did in that video. And I don't really have a script for this. I'm just going to kind of talk for a little bit and we'll see what happens. The first thing to talk about is that I am not really happy with the content I've been making for probably the last year or maybe a little bit more. I don't really think it's great. I think that those videos, like basically, I've jokingly said that they're like Wikipedia summaries, but like for the most part, that's really honestly what they are. I think a lot of that stuff doesn't really have a lot of the stuff that was in my old videos. Like I think my videos in say 2018, 2019, maybe even 2020, I think those videos were better for a few reasons. Number one, I took a lot more chances in terms of talking about different kind of topics and artists and genres and stuff like that I stopped talking about after that. Quick little note here as I'm editing, just to be more specific. So at that time, I was making a lot more videos about stuff like emo rap at the time, trap metal. I made a video about like sad boy pop punk. And in general, I just sort of went out of my way to include a lot of newer artists. So, you know, for example, my video about what killed pop punk, at the end of that, I talked about a lot of newer artists that were sort of embodying the spirit of pop punk. And at the time, that was people like Cold Heart and, you know, Goth Boy Click and stuff, who did actually end up going on to become pop punk artists. And I really kind of have walked away from that because I just sort of felt like, you know, what's the point of even trying to do that for reasons that I'll talk about in a minute. Number two, I added more of my own sort of personality and opinions and thoughts and analysis and stuff to those videos back then, which I stopped doing. And I want to talk about why I stopped doing that, so that maybe you guys can help me figure out what to do about that. So the reason why is basically because when I would talk about those other genres or when I would add my own opinions and thoughts and analysis and stuff, two things happen. Number one, I would get lower views. Number two, I would get a lot more negative comments. For example, the video that I made back in 2021 about trap metal, which I thought was a really cool video that I put a lot of energy into. And at that time, I was very excited about those artists. I mean, even at that time, I feel like trap metal was kind of like, I don't want to say over, but certainly past its prime. But still, it was a relatively new thing that I was excited about, and I thought it was cool. And I still think it's cool. And that video was like one of my most disliked videos ever. It got like, they removed the dislike count, so I don't know what the exact number is, but on average my videos get let's see, on average my videos get 97% likes. This one got 86% likes, so it got somewhere around like 5 or 6 times more dislikes than usual. You know, maybe part of that is the way that I expressed myself in that video maybe was more, I don't know, abrasive than it should have been or more than I intended to. I don't know. I mean, that's definitely been a problem in my life, that I tend to express myself in a way that, you know, a lot of people find to be off-putting, especially people with, I would say, more of like a creative kind of mindset, because the way that I express myself is just like very straightforward. Partly because I'm like almost definitely autistic. Second, because I think the way my brain works is like, my brain does not work like a creative person's brain. My brain works more like an engineer or an accountant or something like that, where I would just say like, here's what I believe to be the facts. And I think creative type people sort of don't really appreciate that. And that's been a struggle for me basically my whole life, because I've worked with a lot of creative people. And so getting back to my original point, you know, at that time in the channel, I was sort of willing to take a lot of these risks and do cover genres that I know my audience didn't necessarily like and say things that they didn't want to hear. And probably I expressed myself in a way that, you know, maybe wasn't the best. And I got a lot of negative feedback for that. And I got a lot of videos with like low views and stuff. And at the time I was willing to do that. But after, you know, years and years and years of that, it basically just wore me down. And I was like, okay, if you guys don't want me to talk about this stuff, if you guys don't like it, I'm just going to stop talking about it. And when I would put my opinions and personality in videos, people, generally didn't like that. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to take my opinions and personality out of my videos. I'm just going to tell you the facts about music that I know that you guys like. So, for example, I always used to say that I would never do a video about System of a Down because I don't like System of a Down and I'm not interested in them. But I know my audience likes them. And I was like, all right, well, I'll do a video about System of a Down. So I did, and people liked it. On the other hand, when I would do videos about stuff that I do like and I was interested in, usually the feedback on that was not good. So in that situation, it's sort of like, I don't know really what I'm supposed to do there. People will say, well, just do the content, make the content you want to make, and who cares what people think? And that's easy to say, but I have a wife and a child, and my income supports our whole family. So if I make videos that people don't like, my income goes down, which means that it's harder for me to support our family. It's hard for me to sort of make the choice to deliberately do things that is going to alienate my audience and hurt my ability to support our family, number one. Number two, as far as like the negative comments go and stuff, on the one hand, like I understand, obviously you're not going to please everybody. That's just the nature of this job, is that, you put your opinions out on the internet and people throw rocks at you and tell you you suck and you're wrong and all that. And like, I totally get that, but that stuff does wear on you over time. If you hear that stuff, like imagine if one person, you as a civilian, most of you people watching this are just, sort of normal people that are not public figures. Imagine one person left a shitty comment on one of your Instagram posts. That would probably bum you out. Now imagine that happening to you dozens or hundreds of times a day for years and years and years. It's going to get to you. I've never had problems sleeping in my entire life. I always slept like a baby, no problems at all, until 2020, I think, is when my channels started getting bigger. And at that time, like I said, I was still taking a lot more chances with my content, and I was sort of willing to put myself out there and say things that people didn't necessarily want to hear. And I started having problems sleeping. I would wake up in the middle of the night, like I think they're like basically like little mini panic attacks, like wake up in the middle of the night gasping for air. I would have trouble falling asleep, and it's gotten better since then, but I still have, like, I wake up at like 4:30 a.m. most days, not because I want to, but just because like that's when my body wakes up, and I've had to take like sleeping medication and stuff like that. I've looked into every possible physiological cause. I've taken sleep studies. I've had every hormone and metabolic panel you could imagine done, and all I can think of is that it's related, and I've talked to doctors and stuff about it. All I can think of is it's related to stress. And what is the biggest source of stress in my life? It's people on the internet saying terrible things about me. And again, I'm not here. I don't want this to be like, oh, poor me. Like, obviously I chose this. I'm putting myself out there. I could quit anytime. And I want to make it very clear that I'm extremely grateful for what I have. I don't want this to be like me complaining. I really don't. But I don't know. I just want to explain this because this is just something I want to get off my chest. So to the people who would say, well, just make whatever content you want and don't worry about what people think or say, or don't read the comments, it's like, well, I feel like that's not really realistic, because number one, this is how, or at least part of how I support our family. Number two, as far as not reading the comments, well, that's an option. But then what's the point of doing this, right? I mean, I like interacting with people. I like having conversations with people. And if I'm just putting videos out there and I don't, like, I read all my DMs on Instagram and stuff. If you've ever interacted with me on Instagram, like, I reply to almost everything because I like talking to people. But, not when it's negative. So that's sort of the I guess struggle I have with the idea of just making whatever content I want. And again, I don't want this to be like a, poor me kind of thing, because I'm very grateful for all of this, and it's amazing that I have this opportunity, and I want to be super clear about that. Another video I did that I was excited about, I thought, well, I sort of go in these cycles of like, on the one hand, I'm like, well, I'm just going to make whatever videos people want. And then other times I'm like, no, you can't be that way. You've got to challenge yourself to make things that you like. But whenever I do that, it doesn't seem to work out too well. For example, I made a video a couple months ago about K-pop, like how K-pop is the new emo, which I think was a good video. I think it's cool. And I was hoping that maybe it would get picked up by the K-pop. Like, I mean, I know that my audience probably hates K-pop, but I figured maybe if I sort of tied it into emo that maybe they would watch it. But no, it's the worst performing video I've done in years. So that didn't work out. And it's like, well, why would I put all this time and energy into making a video that nobody's going to watch? Like, that just doesn't, why would I do that? That doesn't really make sense, right? So, I guess my point with making this video is really, number one, I just sort of want to get that off my chest and hopefully express it in a better way than I did before. But I do want to make it clear, like, the audience does not owe me anything. My job is to make the content that you guys want. And I feel like in the video I made on my second channel, I feel like perhaps it came off a little bit like I was blaming the audience for things, and I never want to do that, because you have no obligation to watch anything that I do or to support me in any way whatsoever. Like, it is my job to make content that you guys like, and I have the choice to make whatever videos I want, and if you watch them, that's awesome, and I appreciate it, and I'm grateful for that, but you have absolutely zero obligation to support me in any way. So I want to be super, 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 super clear about that, because I feel like I really dislike when creators are entitled, and it feels like, that they think their audience owes them something. No audience owes any creator anything. That's not how it works. But I just sort of wanted to share that to sort of get this off my chest, I guess. And if you do have any ideas for anything I could do, sort of outside the vein of what I've been doing for the past year or two, which I would say is just a lot of these sort of, sort of what I would consider to be kind of dry history videos about, millennial rock bands and stuff like that. I would really like to try something new, but I'm kind of out of ideas. But if you have any thoughts on something I could do that's different, that's awesome. I read all the comments, and I will read all of them on this video. And if you have any ideas, I would appreciate it. And I'm just sort of looking at, I made a few notes here, but I don't really have like a script for this or anything like that. So, I mean, really, yeah, that's it. I just sort of wanted to share where I'm at and maybe express myself a little bit better than I did in that other video. But most of all, I want to say thank you to everybody for all your support, because like, this has been an amazing opportunity for me. I think between my two channels, I have like 120 million views or something, which is insane. I started this channel in 2017 thinking that if I got a couple thousand views per video, that would be amazing. Like, oh, cool. If 2,000 people watch my videos, that's awesome, which would be awesome. That is amazing. But then it got bigger than I ever possibly imagined it could. And here I am still 7 years later. And, that's amazing. So I want to just be super clear about how grateful I am for that. And the only reason that any of these things have happened to me is because of everyone that has supported me in any way. So thank you for that. And again, you don't owe me anything at all. But I'm sort of at a place where I'm kind of not really sure what to do next. It would be cool to do something that is a little bit more creatively fulfilling to me, but I'm not sure what that would be. What I'm looking for, like, what is that thing that's a little bit more creatively fulfilling to me, but is also something that you guys will like? And I sort of don't really know what that would be, because I guess for anybody who doesn't know, like, I mean, obviously I know a lot about this sort of genre of rock music, but I listen to all kinds of other music. I listen to like pop and country and like literally everything. And I don't just listen to old music. I primarily listen to new music. And I have a lot of interests outside of music and stuff too. But yeah, I guess basically that's what I'm looking for, is like, if you guys have any ideas on something I could do that is perhaps a little bit outside of the realm of like this millennial rock nostalgia stuff, if there's any way that I could cover new music, that would be really cool. But if not, you know, if the message is no, please keep doing what you're doing, that's what we want, then that's cool too. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have any great, amazing way to end this video. I just wanted to share that. And yeah, thank you.